What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about both silver and gold, along with the coming technical economic recession that is on the way, and how I believe the silver and gold will respond. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos, subscribe to my second channel for weekly videos, go and get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel. Come and join us in the Precious Metals VIP Club for giveaways, live streams, deal alerts. You can watch Sunday's video right now if you want to, and this morning I just posted a brand new vlog. Come and join us. And of course, make sure to go and get your 5 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. If you refer 1 friend, they will give you 10 free stocks for the referral. And if you refer 3 friends, by the end of the month, they're going to give you a spin on the Webull wheel, which guarantees you at least 1 free share of Apple with the chance of winning all the way up to 15 free shares of Apple. Everything will be linked in the description. So today is Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. I'm actually filming this on Tuesday the 19th, which means I have no idea what the spot price is going to be by the time the video drops. So head on down to the comments and let me know the date and time you're viewing the video and what the current spot price is for you. I'm always curious. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the silver and the gold. As usual, what we have here on screen, we have a Type 1, a Type 2 Silver Eagle, a Maple, a Kangaroo, 2 Queen's Beasts, 2 Creatures of the North. We have a 1 ounce, a 5 ounce, and a 10 ounce silver bar. We have a bag of 90% constitutional silver quarters. We have a 5 ounce Aztec calendar round underneath this little pile of gold. And then, of course, we have a little pile of gold. 1/4 ounce Philharmonic, 10th ounce Philharmonic, 10th ounce Britannia, Maple, Eagle, and Krugerrand. And before we can even really deep dive into the precious metals, I wanted to talk about the coming technical economic recession. I wanted to talk a little bit about inflation. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Federal Reserve, and I know that there are always going to be people out there who say,
"Oh, we're already in a recession. Things are terrible, horrible."
That's actually not true. Inflation is terrible right now. Things are not going the way that they should be going just yet, but we're definitely not in a recession at the moment. A recession, by definition, is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. That is not what we're seeing at the moment. During a recession, people are not working. During a recession, people are not spending. Neither of those are true as well. Pretty much everybody has gone back to work. We're not currently going through an unemployment crisis like we were late last year, and we're definitely not going through a period of time where people are retracting from their spending habits. We have people spending more money than ever before, and that's because people have more money than they've ever had before. We're currently transitioning out of the overstimulated economy, and we're still trying to work on getting inflation under control. And everything that the Federal Reserve has said that they're going to do, they've been sticking by the game plan. Now, only time will tell if another couple of weeks go by, more specifically if 3 more weeks go by and the next inflation report comes out and God forbid it's worse than the previous one. The Federal Reserve might have absolutely no choice but to switch up their game plan, which would result in a rug pull, because then they would be doing something that was unpredictable. They'd be doing something that we didn't think that they were going to do, and then we're going to see a little bit of a disaster. But I don't believe that's going to be the case. I don't believe the Federal Reserve is going to do anything out of the ordinary until at least the 3rd quarter of the year. And that's not some weird, random, miscellaneous, arbitrary time frame. That's for an actual reason. Now, the Federal Reserve, they talked about how they're going to be increasing rates by 25 basis point hikes over an extended period of time. So every time the Federal Reserve meets, they're going to be increasing rates by 0.25%. That's the current game plan. Now, if absolutely necessary, they might have to raise that up to 0.5% at a time. That right there could really shock the market, because the Federal Reserve tries their absolute hardest to be as predictable as possible to prevent market shocks. And with the way inflation is going right now, we saw December inflation was 7%. In January, it was 7 8.5%. In February, I believe it was 7.9%. And then in March, which we just learned about last week, 8.5% inflation. This is a new 40-year high, which is what we heard last month, and it's also what we heard the month before. A new high, a 40-year high, that is. And I don't know how many of you remember. I've made a couple of videos talking about inflation over the last couple of months, and I've been saying for pretty much this entire year so far, I don't think inflation is going to begin inflecting down. I mean, core inflation already is inflecting down. Food and energy prices, that's what's making everything soar right now. But I don't think that big headline number, that 8.5 inflation number, I don't think that's going to really be coming down until a little bit later into the year. I'm assuming probably the third quarter of the year is when we're probably going to, hopefully at least, begin to scratch the surface and see a little bit of progress. I do personally believe that the next inflation report that comes out is probably going to be very similar to the inflation report that just came out. I think it's probably going to be somewhere within the 8 to 9% range, and the same thing goes for the following month, and then the following month after that. I think it's going to keep creeping up until probably the third, hopefully not the fourth quarter of the year. I think it's going to keep building because it takes time to actually get it under control. Just because the Federal Reserve finally completed the tapering process and started to raise rates doesn't mean, boom, no more inflation. These things take time. But regardless, the Federal Reserve does have the power to send us into an intentional, technical, on-paper recession, which means 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. And you want to know why that is? It's because right now, one of the several reasons inflation has gotten to the point that it's gotten to is because of how many people are spending. People are spending like it's going out of style. People are spending like they need to for whatever reason. They don't need to right now. There's absolutely no reason to be spending the way that they've been spending. They're not spending their money on food preps and supplies. They're spending their money on, Disneyland tickets. They're spending their money on clothes. They're spending their money on this. They're spending their money on that. People are spending crazy amounts of money right now on essentials and non-essentials. So right now we're going through a period of time where people have been doing crazy amounts of spending for months and months and months on end, potentially even a year plus at this point. And that's because, like I said before, we're transitioning out of that overstimulated economy. People were thrown here's a stimulus check, here's another one, here are some tax credits, here's some money that's free to borrow. People got used to this, and during a period of time where we should have been retracting, people were just hitting the gas like the light turned green and just went into spending mode. And all of that spending has driven up a lot of prices. Now, let's remember that there are a whole long list of other reasons prices have gone up as well. All of the stimulus deals, infrastructure deals, all of these multi-billion and trillion-dollar packages, all of this printing that got done when it came to the dollar bill, it made the purchasing power diminish. But it's also because people keep on spending. When the demand exceeds the supply, prices go up. This goes for the precious metals, this goes for the stocks, this goes for just food at the store, this goes for absolutely everything. And when the supply exceeds the demand, prices go down. Deflation, that's definitely not what we're seeing right now. But the Federal Reserve could combat inflation with deflation, which, by the way, is just as bad. Nobody wants inflation, but we also don't want deflation. If we see deflation, that means nobody's spending money, that means nobody's going out to eat, that means nobody's going on vacation, that means nobody's spending on anything. And prices are going to be going down, which is a good thing in a way because of how high they are up right now, but we don't want them to go down to the point where the economy is suffering because of it. So the Federal Reserve, they got to find that happy medium, and the Federal Reserve, they don't want to send us into a technical on-paper recession. They wouldn't want to do that. That wouldn't be good for anybody. That wouldn't be good for us. It wouldn't be good for the economy, and it definitely wouldn't be good for them because it's their job to keep everything in line. They don't want to send us into a technical on-paper recession. That's an absolute last resort emergency action type of concept. But if inflation remains persistent, if the prices keep going up, regardless of what core inflation is looking like, we're talking about the headline number. If that keeps going up, and not for nothing, but if core inflation continues to go back to inflecting upward as well, that'd be even worse. But if we go from 8.5%, which is what got released this month, to let's just say next month being 9%, and the month after that being 9.25%, and the month after that's closer to 10%, and then after that, moving into the third quarter, now we're at 10%, then 11%, then 12%. If that keeps on happening, the Federal Reserve is going to have absolutely no choice but to send us into a technical on-paper recession. Obviously, it wouldn't be great. Nobody wants that. But that might be a last resort to finally get inflation under control if all else fails. Now again, this wouldn't be a good thing because during recessions, less money is flowing through the economy. And if less money is flowing through the economy, we have businesses and companies making less money. And then that means we're going to have businesses and companies laying off more people, and more people go back to unemployment. And the more people that are on unemployment, that means the less money that they're going to be spending. But guess what? The less money that they're spending could pull down those prices that'll just keep climbing up higher and higher and higher. It's a very slippery slope, and I would not want to be in charge of making these decisions when it comes to, monetary policies. But anyway, moving away from that, I wanted to talk about the silver and gold as well, because when it comes to the silver and gold, they surprisingly do very, very well during not only inflationary times, but also recessionary times. We have seen several times now when the economy is going through some hardships, whether it be economic uncertainty, or whether it be political uncertainty, or whether it be wartime, or whether it be anything. When the economy is going through a rough patch, or when the economy is in shambles, or when anything is really going wrong, the precious metals tend to do pretty good. They do all right. They do okay. And that's because for the precious metals, 9 times out of 10, bad news is good news. See, when it comes to the other markets, like the stock market, for example, everything could be going good. Everything could be going fantastic. We could be having green day after green day after green day after green day, and the market is just hitting new all-time highs every single day. And then a little bit of news comes out that maybe this little teeny tiny thing could be a problem, maybe, sort of, possibly, kind of, sort of, and all of a sudden everything tanks. It blows my mind, and I will never understand how full-grown adults can be this hypersensitive and emotional. It makes zero sense to me. But this is what we see time and time again. Since the creation of the stock market, that's the way it's been. Precious metals, on the other hand, a lot of people, during the economic hardships, or if people catch wind that there might be economic hardships on the horizon, a lot of people either put their investments on pause, meaning they stop throwing dollar bills into their investments, or if they take some dollar bills out of their investments, if they liquidate some of their holdings, if they cash out on all of their holdings, if they take a portion of their cash position and inject it into silver and gold. This is what we see a lot of. Now, that's not the average retail investor's decision. This is what a lot of the big dogs do. But those big dogs just so happen to control a good portion of the market, and they can really move numbers because of how much money they have and how much power they have. I mean, for example, imagine if we woke up tomorrow and Elon Musk sold every single piece of his Tesla holdings. The stock would completely collapse. So imagine if some of these massive multi-millionaires, billionaires, people that are likely going to be the world's first trillionaire, take their dollars, take their currency, take that purchasing power, and take that value and inject even a small portion of it into the silver and the gold. That's what a lot of people do as it is. And every time they do, the ripple effect starts to happen, and then even more people jump into the silver and gold because they see the numbers going up, and then that drives the price up even more because, like I said, when it comes to precious metals, when it comes to stocks, when it comes to food or just items at the store, when the demand exceeds the supply, prices go up, and when the supply exceeds the demand, prices go down. And during those periods right there where people are either rallying into silver and gold, or maybe they're just picking up a little bit more silver and gold than they would ordinarily be picking up, or maybe they liquidated their holdings over here so they could take all those dollar bills and throw it into silver and gold, or maybe they're investing in silver and gold on paper, whatever it is that they're doing. Silver and gold do very, very well during those times. When we see fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets, that's when silver and gold really thrive. Now, a lot of people question, like,
Oh, how come silver isn't, $300 an ounce right now? How come this isn't happening? I've been stacking for 13 days and I'm not rich yet. What's going on?
you should be thankful. I'm going to be honest. You should be grateful. You should pray and thank God every night before you go to bed, because the silver and gold do the best when everything else is collapsing. I would rather everything else stay afloat. I would rather the economy to do, at the very least, fairly decently, preferably fantastic. But as long as we're coasting, as long as we're doing all right, I'll take that over my silver and gold exploding in value and going to the moon while everything else falls down to the ground. Because at that point, a piece of silver currently worth about $25 an ounce. Let's just say that spot price, let's just say it 10x's in the process. Now all of a sudden, it's worth $250. What would $250 be able to get me if the economy gets to that point? If the economy goes down that bad, that it drives silver up that high, what good would the dollar bills be at that point if I were to cash out on some of my silver to buy something? You know how much silver I'd have to get rid of just to buy a loaf of bread? So point being is that the Federal Reserve could, in theory, send us into a technical, on-paper economic recession. And if they do, I think the silver and gold would do just fine. I think the silver and gold will stand their ground. I think the silver and gold will stand tall. And I think they'll be defensive. And this is what I consider to be financial defense. This is one of my ways of playing financial defense. This is a defensive play for me. I'm not stacking the silver and gold to make money. I'm not stacking the silver and gold to create wealth or generate wealth or to build wealth. Why would I do that when this is designed to preserve wealth? I'm creating and building and generating wealth in other ways. I'm creating, building, and generating wealth by playing financial offense. And then I take that wealth and I preserve it with the silver and gold. That's the plan. Now, if you're in the Precious Metals VIP Club, you know what some of my more defensive plays are, even when it comes to financial offense. If you're not in the VIP Club, come and join us. The link will be in the description. But I think the silver and gold will really help me stay afloat. And I personally believe that they have. I've been investing for maybe 1.5, maybe even 2 years at this point. But it's definitely been closer to 1 to 1.5 years of actually really fully understanding what I'm doing when it comes to investing. And I've been stacking the silver and gold for about 4.5 years at this point. And even though it really hasn't been all that much time for me, I've only been in the financial world for just really a split second in the grand scheme of things. I've seen quite a bit, especially when it comes to 2020. How many people can say that they lived through what happened in 2020 more than once? Not a lot of people can say that. So everything that went down in 2020, the silver and gold helped me out tremendously. Now, I didn't part ways with any of it, but guess what? If I was 50-50 in my investments to precious metals, 2020 would have made everything collapse. Everything fell 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. Meanwhile, the silver went from, $18, $19 an ounce. It tanked for a quick second, and then it popped right back up over the course of like a week, and then it just kept going up. But it started out around $18, $19. It went down and then it popped right back up to $18, $19. Then it went to 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. It went all the way up. And I'd never seen those numbers before. So silver climbed all the way up to 28, 29, even $30 for a split second. Meanwhile, the entire stock market was down 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. Now, at the time, I wasn't really in stocks. I got a little bit more invested later that year. And I was able to get a majority of what I hold today for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% off. And I'm looking at double-digit returns. I'm looking at close to 40% returns in total from when I started to present day. I think it's about 36%. Meanwhile, the silver and gold, yeah, they've come down a little bit as the stock market went down and came back up. The precious metals went up and came back down a little bit. But they're still significantly higher up than where they were when I got started. I got started, spot price was $17 during my first year, went as low as, $13, $14. And it stayed in the mid-teens for the longest time. It stayed there for maybe 1 to 2 years, while I was stacking at least. And then boom, 2020 happens and went all the way up to pretty much $30. And right now, sitting in the mid-20s. So in the event of a technical economic recession, I think the silver and gold are going to do really well. Only time will tell, but they are typically seen as a defensive play. And during times where the markets know that, okay, now it's time to play financial defense, not financial offense, I think more and more and more people are going to be diving back into the silver and gold, even if it's just temporarily. Keep in mind, people don't dive into silver and gold for the same reasons we do. We're stacking for the long term for the most part. Some people only jump into silver and gold, mainly gold, to protect their currency while they wait to dive back into their investments. So anyway, I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. What are your thoughts on everything going on right now? Do you believe that the Federal Reserve will send us into a technical, on-paper, economic recession? I know for an absolute fact that it's possible, and I fully believe that it will happen if inflation continues to climb, continues to soar. If we're seeing record-breaking numbers every month, every inflation report comes out, if it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, the Federal Reserve will have no choice. They will need to step in, and they will need to send us into a technical recession as a method of trying to get inflation under control as a last resort. It's definitely possible. They have the power to do it. I hope to God it doesn't get to that point, because if it does, can you imagine what the prices of everything will look like at that point? Hopefully, things begin to simmer down before we get there, but I want to know your thoughts, and I want to know what you believe silver and gold would do in a circumstance like that, where inflation continues going through the roof, and we're forced into an economic recession. Head on down to the comments and let me know. If you guys liked today's video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Go and get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel in the biggest possible way. We got t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, coffee mugs in a bunch of different designs. A lot of the products are helping us raise a little bit of funds and awareness for different charity organizations, by the way. DYDSS store will be linked in the description. Come and join us in the Precious Metals VIP Club, which is where I do giveaways every single month, live streams multiple times a week, deal alerts on silver and gold almost every single day. You can watch all of my videos early and commercial free. You can watch Sunday's video right now if you want to. And I just posted a brand new vlog, as I do every Saturday morning. This one was a really important one. You're going to want to go and watch that. And there are a ton of other perks as well. VIP Club link in the description. I guarantee you the value exceeds the cost. And of course, last but certainly not least, make sure to go and get your 5 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. You can deposit any amount, including even a penny, and it still works. You still get your free stocks, I know, because that's what I did. It's normally 2 free stocks, but they bumped it up to 5, so capitalize on that while you can. If you refer one friend to the app, they're going to give you 10 free random stocks for the referral. It's part of their advertising budget rather than wasting currency on billboards and TV commercials. They reward their users for helping them build their app with them. And if you refer 3 friends, by the end of the month, you only have 1 week left. They will give you a spin on the Weeble Wheel, which guarantees you at least 1 free share of Apple, with the chance of winning 2, 3, 5, 7, maybe even 15 free shares of Apple. Don't pass up on an opportunity. Weeble link in the description. Time is running out. If you don't want the stocks, go and get them anyway. They're free. Then just sell them, and congratulations, now you have the cash to go get you some silver and gold if that's what you want. Weeble link in the description. And I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know once again, what are your thoughts on everything shared in today's video? Were you aware that the Federal Reserve actually does have the power to send us into an intentional, technical, on-paper economic recession? Whether you knew it or not, do you believe that that's going to be the case? Do you think inflation will continue to climb? Do you think even after the supply chain constraints are resolved and after the war over in Ukraine simmers down, you think we're going to get back on track? Do you think that's what it's going to take for inflation to really begin inflecting down? Or do you think the Federal Reserve is going to actually need to step in and basically force the number down? And of course, what do you think silver and gold would do in a circumstance like that? Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.